Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Baroness Lovey Deluxe and I am here today to teach you how to do airbrush makeup. So I'm going to go through some of the tools and techniques that I use. I've been using airbrush makeup since 2015. I use it on myself every day, minus today because we're going to do a full face. And I use other products with that, but that's my personal preference. Some people like to do a full airbrush face. I like to use it for foundation and eyeshadows, but I like to do my liquid liners for my cat eyes. And you can do cat eyes with airbrush. You can actually do everything. But it's just like I said, my personal preference. So if you're a beginner and you've always wanted to try airbrush makeup, this is a great video for you. So keep watching and I will give you some details at the end on where to get the products. And throughout the video, I'm going to talk about my own experiences with the companies and which products I love best for different occasions or faces or needs. So thank you very much for joining and let's get started. Okay, so there's different types of guns. This is a typical airbrush gun. And this is not a typical airbrush compressor. Usually they have a hose and they attach to a compressor. I have thrown all of mine out because I've been doing airbrush so long. I like using these. This is a one gun by Dynair. And I like this one because it's cordless. So I just charge it up and I go. And I find my charge lasts quite a while. So that's just my preference. But if you're new and you want to get into airbrush, you may want to go with just the compressor types that have the hose because they're easy, they're usually cheaper, and they have 2 speeds, so they're easy to use. With the airbrush, you press it on, like for example with the one gun, and then you pump. Now there is a gun by Temptu, which is another airbrush company, where it's designed for beginners where you just press and hold. Now, every other airbrush line and airbrush in general, you want to pump because that's what gives you that smooth effect. That's what evenly puts the product on your face. But if you are a beginner and you're not sure and you don't want to do all that, you just want to go like this, then the Temptu gun would be ideal. It's a basic gun and it even tells you that it just, when you go on their site and you read up on the guns, that you just press once. But that isn't true airbrush. In my opinion, I like to pump to get that natural, and I'm just used to it. But like I said, I have no preference, whatever you need to begin or start. And then I also have the Temptu gun. This one, gosh, I hope I charged it. I pump mine. Some people just spray. But I always pump. And I took their intro class just to make sure I was using the equipment correctly, and I'm glad I did. It was free, I think, with the purchase of this gun, and it was an hour long with one of their educators, and it was online, and it was great. And you put your product in here, and you just put like a couple drops, and all the airbrush guns are just a few drops. So that's another type of gun, super easy to use, great for beginners. Lots of professionals use this gun, get a beautiful even application on this, and you can purchase off their website all kinds of foundations. And well, I'll give you more tips on that, but if you have questions, put them down below because there's so much information and I've spent years playing with these, trying to get the right look. Now, I love using this on clients. For myself, it's quite light, so I find I'm pumping a lot and it gets tiresome. And I prefer my one gun because I just have more to cover and I find that it's a very strong application and the coverage is really good. I use a soft glow, which is a semi-matte. But that's because I'm covering discoloration. I'm not using tons of colored concealers to hide it. I don't have to with this. This is amazing for, I feel, light applications. I used it on a client out in California and she looked amazing, but she didn't have what I have, which is discoloration and little scars from acne and things like that. She had an even skin tone, so it was amazing on her, and she was in her 50s. It looked beautiful. Okay, our third type of gun that I want to talk about. This is a cheapie off of Alba. Is that it? How you say it? Alba? It's one of those sites where you can buy really cheap equipment, clothing, accessories, whatever. So I wanted to try it to see the difference, and it's a great gun. I'm turning them all on so you can hear them because some are louder than others, and that is an issue for some people, depending on like if you're getting ready early in the morning, etc. Like for me, it gets annoying after a while, and I found my one gun pretty quiet. So this one's not bad. It's got more of a vibration you can hear, but this one also has a larger cup. So this is advertised for cake decorating, doing nails, painting models, kind of an all-purpose, but it was only 20 bucks. So I thought, hey, let me try it. Now, this screws off, and then you put your product in there. So one thing you're gonna notice about the guns, this is a much smaller funnel to put the product in and get to the airbrush. And the problem with the bigger ones is you have to put it directly in so you don't waste the product. And you only need a few drops. So to put it in a container this big and not hit that little spout part that funnels down is a waste of product, and it takes forever. And this one is super powerful. I had no problem with it, but I just found the cup was too big for the product. And so I could definitely see myself using this for like painting or nails or, you know, cake decorating that's super popular because you're putting in more product. And so it makes more sense. Whereas this one is a small funnel, so it's just designed for the face. And most airbrush guns, all the companies have a smaller funnel. So I like that. This one from Temp2 has a small kind of funnel area as well, and you want to drop it right in, and then you want to tip it when you spray with this one. And this one, I don't have to worry about that. I can kind of go all over and hit all angles, but I'm going to show you in a second. So let's get started. I have just a little bit of concealer on, and I find for most airbrush application, I have to use a concealer. I use, oh my gosh, I look crazy. I did dog walk. Okay, let's just do a little. I love the, this is a long wear concealer by MAC. It's a new one I'm trying because the one I used for like 30 years is discontinued. And I thought that was just crazy, but change is a good thing. So I ended up getting this one to replace my NW25, which I religiously use, and you'll see me using it all my videos. And it covers the discoloration and the acne. And I used to just wear that when I was younger and nothing else because I wasn't a big makeup person back then. And then when I started doing makeup, of course, you know, you're a makeup enthusiast, you're trying all the products, you're wearing it, etc., etc. So what I found was, well, what happened was they stopped making it just recently, and it looked like this. It was in a round container, and it's a thicker concealer. And all concealer is foundation, but that was a thick one, so I could apply it evenly in a cream base, and I love that. So this one that I got, the new one, is MAC Studio Radiance 24-Hour Luminous Lift Concealer. And I recommend using a concealer under your airbrush makeup because it just makes you work less with your airbrush, and just another little tool to just get all the little areas that might be problemed or red or what have you. I love this applicator, and the consistency is great, and it does last. Now I'm walking outside with my dog like 4 times a day because he's a puppy, and so I find that it does wear, and I touch my face when I'm working at the computer, so it's still comparable to this cream coverage foundation, and I was so worried about it because that was my go-to. That's what saved me in all my makeup looks. But this Luminous 24-Hour by MAC is amazing. And then I also got the Prep and Prime Primer, which has like highlights in it, so you just put it in the corners, and it just gives like a pop of color. Did I just put that in my eye? Oh my god. Okay, let's blend that out. Oh, okay. And it just brightens the area you put it in. So I use that sparingly. And it just gives a little kick around the eyes and the mouth, like all those areas that get a little darker. And it's just a little added protection. Now on to the airbrush makeup. So you can, in every brand, find different shades of foundation. And you have to shake your bottles. They have a little ball inside like spray paint. And that's very important. You want to shake it so it mixes really well. You don't need much. Like this lasts so long. And that's one thing I love about airbrush makeup in general. I don't care what brand it is that it's just a few drops with great coverage. So I have two shades here. I have a 128 and a soft matte and a 125. I like to do a darker shade and then a brighter, lighter one. Like I might even go lighter than the 125 and use a 110, which most people look at me and like, how can you do that? Because it's all about blending. So that might be a little complicated. So I recommend getting one shade that works for you. I like to contour, that's why I do light and dark, but that might be, might not be ready for it. But if you are and you're familiar with that, get one darker shade, one lighter shade. And what you're gonna do is apply your darker one and do your brighter one, just like you would with makeup. Okay, so we're gonna turn that on. I put a couple drops in there. I like to tilt it a little so it gets down. And then I'm gonna pump and just spray it on. And it's super soft. You can tell if it's spraying or not. Every once in a while, your airbrush will get a little clogged at the nozzle if it's this style of brush. So you wanna pull back your lever, just take a Q-tip and clean that out. Now, if you're using a gun like this, never ever use a Q-tip with this because the fibers in it get caught and can block it up. So it's really important to understand the equipment you're working with. But at the end of this video, I'll put a list of companies and places where you can buy guns and foundation. I like to use the foundation from the same company with the same gun. If it is water-based, you can use them crisscrossing. But the companies won't guarantee their guns if you do that because obviously they want you to buy their product. So either way, there's a few companies I just love their airbrush makeup and I'll give you those recommendations at the end as well, which foundations. But right now I'm using Dainair. I'm using their one gun. I have used this for years since it's come out. And if you look on their website, they shoved it in a corner and I'm in there. Promoting their gun. I was like one of the first people to review it and promote it because I knew doing airbrush for so long that this was amazing. Cordless, powerful, and reliable. That being said, I have 3 of these guns and I fix them and clean them and declog them on a regular basis. My original gun, which is the gun I have in my hand that I bought a few years ago, the very first one, works and works really well. My newest gun is not working. So be forewarned that if you buy equipment, you have to clean it and work with it. And that is what's different about airbrush versus taking a brush and just a palette and applying makeup. Hang on. Okay, had to answer the phone, sorry about that. So another thing with the guns, don't be intimidated by them. They're easy to clean and use. I've been doing it for years. And you can always send your gun in to get it cleaned. At least you can with Dainair. I don't know about the other companies. I'll have to look that up. But yeah. So I just pump and circle and I do the whole face and I'll go in closer to do any problemed areas that have black marks or I just want a heavier coverage, and you pull out when you want a lighter coverage and it gives you a nice even application. And if you want more, because you have acne or discoloration, you can go ahead and put a little bit more. You just don't want to make your face look cakey. But one of the beautiful things about airbrush is that it's very natural looking. I use a matte because I like it. It has a little more coverage and it's got a very soft look to it. Other people like a dewy look, which is great. That's the more modern, but I love a vintage glamour kind of twist to things. And that's why I use that. Soft matte's also a little more coverage, as I mentioned, and it's just got a different look. If you have oily skin, the matte sometimes is a better option. Dewy is great for dry skin and normal skin, and also gives you kind of that kind of fresh, natural look. Most people want to look super natural. I like to wear makeup and have it show. I enjoy that. But to each his own. Everybody's different. The point is that you can really build your look from natural, soft, to dramatic, dark. It's really up to you, and the versatility in the foundations and the equipment is what's so amazing about airbrush makeup. And that is why I'm explaining this today. Anyway, as you can see, I have more coverage on now. We've evened things out, It just adds a little bit more than regular foundations. It's an even coverage. If you're older like me and you want to cover light and shadows and creases and fine lines, it's fantastic for that, especially the soft matte. It will make your skin look flawless and you'll look like you have no lines, and it's all about blurring and blending out when you have kind of like, you know, things are starting to sink and lines are starting to show, or you're tired, or you've been sick. I mean, I've been using this while I was sick to cover hives and breakouts and skin problems. I felt awful. And that's one of the reasons I haven't been on camera as much, but I'm better now and I'm getting better, but I still have to be careful about what I eat. A whole other video, but it's all about having high nickel. And that is where also the foundations are great, because I had no problem with the foundations. I had all these allergies, and once your body starts triggering, everything is reacting, and it can be really difficult to figure out and pinpoint what's causing it. And when you go to the doctors, certain ones want to say, oh, it's makeup, and it wasn't the makeup. And I kept testing things, and so that's how I found out what worked for me. I have a nickel allergy. So I had no problem with Dinair, Temp 2, Rock Candy. Those foundations were totally fine. I haven't tried any other ones since then that I can think of. But for myself, no aloe-based foundations, no like leafy green stuff thrown in there, no oat milk. Rock Candy is an oat-based, but it hasn't bothered me yet. But I wear Dinair religiously because of the coverage. And that's because it works for what I need. So figure out what you need. If you don't have a lot of like scars or acne or things to cover, a light, softer, the Temp 2, even the Soft and Dewy in the Dinair is great. And there's all kinds of other brands. And like I said, keep watching. I'll put a list of the brands that I've tried and what I think of their foundations. Okay, so anyway, this we have covered. And for today, we're going to add in a little bit more airbrush than I normally do. So today this is the Rock Candy, and it's water-based, so that's why I can use it in this gun. So you cannot use silicone-based airbrush in these guns, in any of these guns. You will wreck your gun. So silicone airbrush would be the MAC Airbrushmakeup. For them, they use the Iwata compressor, which is a big compressor, super noisy, but it's very powerful, and it can do full body. It can do amazing things, but it's a silicone based. The silicone base can last longer, but it's heavier, and it can make your skin react if you're sensitive. I stay away from silicone based foundations because they make my skin react. And so I like the water based. They're natural, they're light. You can build them, the coverage. They're easy to use, easy to clean your guns. It's for a beginner, this is ideal. You want to go into something like this or the gun with the hose. If you have questions, just post down below. So I'm just going to go in. I'm going to do a little on the cheek. I like to go high up. You know the trend right now is to kind of go higher up and blend in. And I just softly go in and add in the blush. And like I said, this is buildable. But you want to be careful because it can easily turn into a hot mess. Once you have that airbrush on, it's very hard to get off. The only way you can soften or lighten like a dark blush or an eyeshadow is to use the foundation very carefully over it and blend. You're always blending, you're always playing with lights and darks. You have to think ahead when you contour. So I just went in and I used the Soft Glow 128 for a darker base. And now I'm going to go in with I believe it's the 110, Vanilla 106. I'm going to very lightly brighten around my eyes and mouth and nose because that's where I need it. Okay, so I've zoomed in a little so you can get a better look at the foundation and the blush. Super soft, even. And then I just cleaned out the blush from my gun, and I have one of these containers, so you can spray into this, which is super handy. And most companies have these. Dinair has these, and they have little filters. They're great. So I spray into that. And then I sometimes spray into my towel if I'm looking at my spray pattern, because you want it to be full and expanding out. So that's really important. You always want to look at your spray pattern. So now I'm going to go in with the lighter color. always test on your arm first. I find that's a good rule of thumb so that you don't spray the wrong color, accidentally put in a dark color on when you're trying to do foundation. It happens. So I'm gonna go in. I like to do my lids to do like a natural. You can see how that just brightened it right away. I like to go underneath the eye and up. You can see a difference already. It's already evening out and putting a lighter color, which gives me my base, my palette, to add my color. And then I like to go around the nose a little, around the mouth, because that's where I have a darker area, on the chin from little previous breakouts, and then I blend out. You want to be really careful not to go too strong so you have white spots. You just want to blend out. And you can control with your lever how much you're pumping out, and you want to practice on paper or on your arm before you use your face, unless you're home and you can wash your face because you're like, oh. But always go less is more, and then you can build it if you want to go darker, stronger, what have you. Because I've been doing this so long, I go a little heavier faster, but that's because I know what colors I'm going to use and how I want it to do. So you can see how it's just like popped and brightened. So that's how you contour with airbrush. So I have my darker color and my lighter color, and you can at this point use powders instead of airbrush makeup if you're more confident with your bronzers and your arm makeup, etc., in your lip color, or you can do full airbrush. It's up to you. Some people feel it lasts longer. I feel it just depends on what you're doing. I mean, if you're going to be hiking outside, it's going to melt no matter what. It may not melt as fast, etc. But so once again, it's about using what works for you depending on your situation. Okay, so we've used the one gun. I've used two shades, a 128 and then a 106, to contour and brighten and apply the foundation. So we've got a pretty even coat. We got a nice palette. We've got some blush. The blush is from a different company. You can get them in all different colors, like pinks and reds and all that. And the thing is too, you can take your colors and mix them. So you have a pink blush and you don't like it and you want to add in more red for a vintage look, you can add in a crimson red or a mauve red and build your own colors. And that's also what's really great about it. But always remember to clean out your gun. And if you're going to use multiple colors many, many times, it might be worth it to get a few guns. Now with this company, you have to buy the kit. I don't believe you can get guns separate. This company, Temp2, has different machines and guns. So like I said, I'm going to put at the end of the video the different companies and what they offer. I'll put links in. Okay, so we're going to jump to eyes. Gosh, all my bottles are falling everywhere because I've been just doing all kinds of stuff. Okay, so I will give you an example of mixing right now. We are going to take a burgundy based, this looks super dark, don't get scared, and then a bright red. And what I like to do is use the burgundy with a couple drops of red, so it creates more of a brighter burgundy on my skin tone. I like brighter colors on my eye colors, but I don't like doing, you know, yellows and reds and having crazy eyes all day. This is just to add drama to the ends of the eyes and do soft cat eyes. I also have a black for when I want to do a cat eye. So even though I had mentioned I do liquid liners a lot, I sometimes, you know, will take a black and do the base of it and blend, and I do like an ombre and shading, and then I go in with the liner, and it just creates a really neat effect. So let's do one eye. Okay, so this is a burgundy base. I find it kind of dark. It's beautiful, but you have to go soft with this. Oh, this is the purple. Let's see if we have it. Did it fall? Of course it fell. Okay, this is called Longbow by Dinair. It's a burgundy base. It looks quite dark. It's super pretty. It's a great neutral. I consider it a neutral. So I'm just going to do 2 drops. That is all you need. You do not need a lot of makeup to do airbrush, but it goes a long way. And so you're saving money in the long run, and that's what I love. And then I'm going to add in this really bright Cinnabar. And this is like, I think, one of their blushes, but I like to use it on the eyes. And sometimes I do the Cinnabar of really light, and then I do this with a drop. So I'm going to add in a drop of this. I'm going to pull the lever, hold this down so it mixes. You can see it bubbling, and that's basically blowing the air back in so it mixes the makeup. It's just a little trick. Okay, so I'm gonna take my stencil. These are great because they're fast and easy. So I'm just gonna softly go in, and I'm making like almost a triangle on the end and using the stencil to keep it clean, kind of like how you would use tape on the side of your eye. But instead I'm gonna stencil it. And then I'm just kind of slanting it. And you can see how it's created this definition. This is what I do. You don't have to apply it this way, but I like this kind of dramatic cat eye. And like I said, I do like an ombre shading. So I have the burgundy base with the red mixed in to brighten it. And on me, that looks really good. The burgundy also looks really good on blondes. It's a beautiful color. It's really versatile. So I'm gonna go in. Now we're gonna do the other side. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a towel and I'm wiping the end because it is so easy to hit it on your face or flip it the wrong way, etc. So if you wanted it brighter, you could add in more red. You could really play with the colors and the mixing. So I'm gonna once again follow the line of my eye, gently put the corner curve, because I want a curve that curves up, and I'm gonna match it to the other eye because one eye is lower than the other. And I'm gonna just pump, and I'm gonna create a triangle moving around evenly, matching the other one, and just kind of bringing it into the front, just a touch. And there you go, you can see I've created this shading, and that's what it is. That's what's so beautiful about airbrush. Okay, it's a little uneven. I need a little bit more. So I wipe my stencil just so I don't put the wrong side, and now I'm gonna even it out. And don't worry about, like, if you're a beginner and you're worried about it's not perfect, don't overdo it because you can wreck the eye and then you have to wash the whole eye. But do as much as you want, and then just take a shadow, similar or opposite color, and just blend until you get it right, until like it becomes second nature to you. And sometimes I'll just take these anyways, just to add in a different color I don't have, or just to create a different texture. You know, it's really about figuring out what tools work for you. So I think this is great for airbrush. Okay, so I'm just cleaning out the darker color, the burgundy and the red that I just mixed. And I always keep a bottle of airbrush cleaner and a bottle of water, and that's how I clean my guns if you don't know anything about airbrush. And I'm always in here just to like put all the darker colors in there. For these guns, carry a little pointed Q-tip, and I just move the process along. You know, sometimes I'll spray in my lap if I think it's clogged, and I'll just gently pull the lever back so it doesn't touch the needle, clean the top part, the part that sprays out. Depends how fast I need to go. And sometimes, like, the guns do clog up if you don't clean them. And so that would be the downside of doing airbrush if you want to be, like, if you're not sure. So that's something to consider if you're not willing to put up with cleaning the gun, if you don't care about the effect and you feel like powder is better. To be honest, yeah, it takes some work and you have to play with your gun, but I wouldn't give up on it because I just love the effect. This also is a lot faster than eyeshadow and powders when you airbrush. Okay, so I'm in there. It's a little bit clogged up, and I'm looking at my spray pattern and I can feel it. I can also hear it. So I'm just gonna clean the gun by pulling the lever back while it's working, making sure everything's flowing out. And then testing it. Okay, so I consider those minor things that you have to do. Anything you do in terms of makeup, you're gonna have to do some kind of work, like cleaning brushes and cleaning palettes. I find it pretty easy, and I'm used to playing with the equipment. But like I said, if you keep your equipment clean, like after I'm done, I put in a little cleaner, I cap my gun, and I take it off of here, I cap the bottom, and I let it sit with a little cleaner in it so it's always clean. And then as soon as I go to use it and take the caps off, I make sure to spray it all out and test it with some water. Those are just some extra things that you want to do if you're going to do airbrush. And it's like with any type of process or makeup, there's different tips and tricks to it. Okay, so if I wanted to, I could go in with the red now and just add a little bit more if I want to brighten it up or make it kind of cool. I think my puppy's starting to cry. Okay, so I'm just gonna test that out because you wanna make sure that you're not going too heavy, that your gun's working. So I just used it on my wrist and I very lightly, so I'm just gonna go in. You can use your stencil as a little guide. I'm gonna go a little bit more into the center and blend out, just to give it a little something. And with the guide, you're able to just like spray over if you need to. And just get it kind of even. And I just blend it in. And that's just a little extra, just to make it pop. All right, so we're gonna clean that. I always have a towel on my lap. That's just something I do. And then I pop all this, and I clean my guns right away. I do some airbrush cleaner. Like I said, you may want a second gun to do that, but I've just become religious with it because I hate it when it clogs up. Okay, so we're back. I cleaned out my gun, and a few tips. If you're a beginner, and this video is kind of directed to the ultimate beginner, let me zoom out a little. Okay, I think this gun would be great for beginners. It's easy to use, easy to clean. You can buy the product online. That's my recommendation. I think these are great for more powerful, if you have need more coverage. I definitely recommend these. That's what I use. And if you're thinking about using it on friends and family to make some extra money, you may want to go this route. Also, it's cordless, which is very handy when you're working with people and you're in small spaces. Everybody should get one of these. It's just great for spraying your product in so it's not all over the place. And always have a towel in your lap. Yeah, those are my recommendations. If you have questions or you have tips of your own, feel free to share them down below. I'm gonna finish this look and let's get back to it. All right, so I just put some lashes on, finish the look. We're gonna fix his hair. But really the purpose of this video is to show you airbrush makeup if you're an absolute beginner and you're interested in learning how the equipment works, more about the product. Like I said, if you have questions, leave them down below, and I appreciate you joining me. And I'm going to give you a list of airbrush companies that I use, and I hope I haven't left anything out. There's just so much information, but it is super easy, and as you can see, you get beautiful soft looks. This took minutes, I mean not even minutes, seconds to do. And like I said, you can do lips, eyebrows. If you don't wear eyelashes and you want to paint them darker, you can do it using your stencil. If you want a different natural look with some clear mascara. I mean, it is limitless. And I could take this same crimson and paint my lips. It's amazing. Let me see if I can do that. Okay. Okay, let's mix that up. And just use your stencil. I used a little lip pencil. You can just use this to cradle. Okay, got my gun working. And that's the thing, sometimes these guns jam up, so you may or may not want to take that on. But like I said, these are so easy to use, so it's really about finding what works for you. And if I can give you any tips or suggestions, just ask. But I'm going in with the crimson. I'm going to do a lip. I normally use lipstick. Okay. I need to charge it. It's dying. And that's another thing. It could spill. So now you're seeing it all. And yet I still use it. I love it, and I think it gives a great look. It does last long. But these are the little things you have to get through, and even though I've been using it so long, I still deal with it, and I'm used to it. But it's just as if you spilt your powdered makeup or you accidentally broke it. It's the same. It's just about changing your mindset and the ultimate benefits of the products you're using. Okay. Very soft and light, and like you saw me do, after a while you can just freehand it. Yeah, and I used a lip pencil just to make it easy. And like you saw, just use your angled stencil to define your edges. I mean, it'll allow you to do different colors and different things. I'm gonna go in, I'll put some lashes on, just finish this look. Let me zoom in for you. Beautiful. So, super fun. I love airbrush. I know there's a lot of little things to it. Like I said, feel free to ask me questions. I'm here to help you. And I hope that was a great intro. I'm zooming out. I hope that was a great intro into airbrush makeup and the benefits, and also the side negative things that you may not hear about of using equipment. I think it's worth it, and I enjoy it, and I'm always looking for new products. I just find it a lot easier. It's half the time, and you can get beautiful looks like I showed you on the eyes. There's lots of other influencers out there doing airbrush, and you can see what they do. I love doing these different color eyes and brighter colors, just because I have the black hair. But you can do very, very natural looks. They have a range of colors. Dinair is great in terms of their eyeshadow colors. Can I show you this? I have like rainbow of colors that I use for eye makeup, and I love it. But my puppy's crying, so I gotta go. So I hope you like this video, guys. Thanks for joining me. And like I said, guys, don't forget, you can use powdered products and mix in with your airbrush. People will say, oh, that defeats the point of doing it. Just know that use the tools you need to create the looks you want. And if a little airbrush, a little powder, why not? Use what you want to use. Don't let anyone tell you that you have to do all airbrush, because you don't. And that's what I love about it. You can use your favorite products and play. And as makeup enthusiasts, that's what we do. We play. So, yeah, thanks again for joining me. And click the bell for notifications on my latest videos. I am slowly getting back to doing it on a regular basis. I am much better now. And I have a lot of things in the works that I hope to share. So hit that like button. It really helps a girl out. And join me for my next video. Bye-bye.